Paul Brunton answers life's perennial questions. Is there life after death? Quest Series 2, video number 11. Presented by the Paul Brunton Philosophic Foundation. Only in those last few days or hours or minutes do most people find out the truth that as one kind of life leaves both them and their flesh, another opens up to them. Dying into annihilation is one thing, but dying into another form of consciousness is quite different. It is the latter which happens at the passing away of the life force from the body. Those who have studied these teachings do not believe that death can bring them to an end, even though it must bring their body to an end. It is both a logical and biological truth for them that their inner personality will survive, their mind will continue to exist, and that it will come into spatial manifestation once more when consciousness becomes active again. Many of the departed do not even know at the time what has really happened to them, and still believe themselves to be physically alive, for they find themselves apparently able to see others and hear voices and touch things just as before. Yet all these experiences are entirely immaterial and take place within a conscious mind that has no fleshly brain. A student comment.
PB has a quote that says you can have meetings with those who have passed. You don't know what form it could take. It could be subtle. It could be the breath of their atmosphere. What you want to do is just invite the person. And he also said you can't do it very often. You really have to let people go.
You will fall into a short, restful sleep, after which a vivid but dreamlike experience will follow. You will be shown what you have done with your earth life, what should have been done with it, but it is seen with great compassion from the viewpoint of the soul, your true self, the overself, and gives an invaluable learning opportunity. You will begin to see the dreamlike nature of those past experiences, and have an opportunity to free yourself from the previous materiality and attachments which caused unnecessary conflicts. To the extent you can hold on to this realization, you will gain a spiritual profit which will show in the next incarnation. Our brief experience over, we then begin to live like someone in a dream. Our own will is not responsible for what happens to us as a dreamer, and it is just the same with what happens to us as a spirit. We do not personally and consciously choose, decide, and predetermine the course of our spirit life any more than our dream life. It flows on by its own spontaneous accord, here as there. A student with a question for Paul Brunton.
What happens after death? He told me, death is quite different for questers, the faithful, and disbelievers. He stressed the differences. Questers went through death more consciously, whether or not their quest was successful in life. Faithful persons get what they believe in, a continuation, and will sometimes get a glimpse of the higher self. Questers, in nearly all cases, achieve what they failed to achieve in life. By that, PB meant that there was a glimpse of the higher self. After the glimpse, there is a prolonged period of sleep, after which the quester wakes up in the afterlife to resume their efforts. This is a direct quote. We spend more time out of the body than in. It's easier to make progress after death. Both the physical handicaps were removed and sufferings were removed, and one didn't have such obstacles. Things were not so pleasant for the wicked.
Next, it must be made clear that both exceptional happiness and exceptional suffering in the spirit world can come only to exceptional souls. The average individual is a lukewarm mixture of good and evil, and consequently should not expect any such exaggerated experience after death. The hells of the wicked and the heavens of the virtuous are indeed sparsely populated. We travel from one body to another, with suitable and necessary rest periods in between them. From each we gather experiences, in each we learn and unlearn, sin and suffer, act aright and benefit. In the end, amid advance and relapse, there is the fullness and satisfaction of a ripened human being, cleaned, leaving behind more animality. But it is not the same as true deathlessness, which can be achieved only by transcending the transient personality. We are here to evolve into the consciousness of our soul, our higher individuality, the overself. Every physical experience is only a means towards such spiritual development. There is no need to fear this passage from our inferior personality to our higher individuality. It is not a retrogression toward less than what we really are, that is, toward annihilation, but an advance towards more than we now are, that is, toward true self-fulfillment. The individual consciousness is not lost. It is expanded, increased, enlarged. Life remains what it is, deathless and unbound. We shall all meet again. Know what you are and be free. The best counsel today is keep calm, aware. Don't let the pressure of mental environment break into what you know and what is real and ultimately true. This is your magic talisman to safeguard you. Cling to it. The last word is patience. The night is darkest before dawn, but dawn comes. Go to Paul Brunton Archive, pbarchives.org, at Cornell University to read an article by NDE scientist Kenneth Ring, The Nature of Personal Identity in the Near-Death Experience, Paul Brunton and the Ancient Tradition in Anabiosis, the Journal of Near-Death Experiences, under Series Biographical and Secondary Materials / Articles about PB's work. Paul Brunton, 1898 to 1981, a best-selling British author of a dozen books, spent much of his early life researching the original sacred teachings of Western and Eastern spiritual traditions. He traveled the world to discover and communicate with Christian, Kabbalistic, Vedantic, Buddhist, Taoist, indigenous, and Sufi masters. Blending the richness of his own spiritual experience and inquiry with these ancient and contemporary teachings, he developed a philosophy and path of practice that suits life in the 21st century, one that expresses the greatest wisdom and love available to humankind. Regardless of how it is named, we each have a divine soul, an overself or higher self, that is with us here and now, waiting to be realized. Paul Brunton's writings are a source of deep spiritual guidance for all those interested in living a divinely inspired life. Anthony Damiani, 1922 to 1984, was a prominent teacher of Paul Brunton's ideas and founder of the Wisdom's Goldenrod Center for Philosophic Studies. Inspired to penetrate into and understand the depths of traditional wisdom, he taught classes on the major philosophies as well as the teachings of Paul Brunton. His dedicated students compiled the 16 volumes of Paul Brunton's posthumous writings, titled The Notebooks of Paul Brunton, available from www.larsonpublications.com. Material for this video was taken from Paul Brunton's The Wisdom of the Overself, Chapter 7, The Scorpion of Death. The Notebooks of Paul Brunton, Volume 1, Perspectives. Volume 6, The Ego, From Birth to Rebirth. Volume 16, Enlightened Mind, Divine Mind. When completed, the Paul Brunton Quest Series 1 and 2 will contain the following topics. Please subscribe to the Paul Brunton Philosophic Foundation channel.